My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm putting this up. This is Larry Flint. I was out there in a political campaign. October, I was out there twice, 83. I was out there to replace Larry McDonald, a U.S. congressman, and he was a urologist from Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta. I had lived in Atlanta, or Marietta, outside Atlanta, and I did a medical malpractice book. I had worked for doctors, and one of the doctors, the cases in it, was Larry McDonald. And while I was doing the book, I was living at Moonraker on Powers Ferry off Delk Road in Marietta, and Larry Flint was brought in to Lawrenceville, Georgia, and was in court. He was charged with something, and I'd never met Mr. Flint. He was shot, his attorney killed, and anyway, I'll go ahead and say this. I had a reporter with NBC approach me. It's been some years ago after I came to Roanoke, and he told me that they had reels of video where they photographed Mr. Flint lying on the sidewalk outside the courthouse in Lawrenceville after he'd been shot, and that there was no way he lived. His insides were all out, and I could go on and on about this. When I was out there, he even says, I thought it was Mr. Flint at the time, and I don't know now that it's not. But they took his power of attorney and put him in Butner, North Carolina federal prison. My God, anyway, he says here, this was in April of '84. He says that I know who was responsible for his shooting. He mentions Larry McDonald. So I'm going to skip from there. I had my job shut down. I've had everything in the book done to me. I'm allergic to chemicals, and if you think that's funny, try having done with the agency that's orchestrated it. And I'm going to say this real quick. This is James Carl Barton. Now, they gave me this and his wife, Linda, and he's retired Virginia Highway Patrolman. And his wife, in August the 14th of '09, and I won't get into all the circumstances. I've put it up before. She brought me. He had her bring me there. I was on Roanoke Mountain Campground. It's a national park campground. And somebody come in the middle of the night and poured fuel all over it. And the next day they brought me down, and she paid to Affordable Corporate Suites, and she paid with a credit card the security deposit, and I paid 17 months of hell to live there. Now, before she left, she said to me, this is how we run you with chemicals. So my immune system, when I come in contact, especially in close quarters, my immune system attacks itself, and if you keep this up, people would die from the inflammation. It's like a light switch. You switch it on, you smell the toxic chemical, you either get away from it, like turning a light off, or you suffer the consequences. In my case, I've run to this one, and this one. In telling it, it's not that people don't believe it, because part of them are, the cops get things on people, and in return for them doing the cops favor, the cops will either not charge whatever the crime is, or et cetera, et cetera. So this has been going on to where I'm old, and the inflammation has just ripped through my body from it, and I've been made move here and here. And I want to say this. I moved in, it's Howard Johnson on Third Lane Road. And I came here and got across here, had to get a cab, and they lied to me about the charge of the room, and a cab's sitting there with me because I don't have a car, so I'm paying the cab, and I'm being run from place to place when these people should be locked up and throw away the key. It's assault with intent. There's all kinds of crimes committed. What I wanted to say is I came in here a week ago tomorrow, and I'd already been soaked in chemicals that I had to leave or I wouldn't live. And that was across the street here on the same place at Motel 6. I'd been here a while off and on, but they'd soak me when it's time to run me. And this is what Carl Barton's wife said. I haven't to quote her because my word's no good anymore. Look what they've done to me. My God, I can't get an attorney. But anyway, that's how they run me. Well, they get me so sick I have to run to the forest and try to camp there and get some air, fresh air and something. And anyway, this Motel 6 used to be a Hampton Inn, and it's owned by McFarland, I believe. He's a former Virginia state senator, excuse me. So I would assume he very well knows what's going on in here because Bob Goodlatte, who's U.S. congressman from here, John Edwards, and you name it, back to Alabama where I was taken and grew up down there, I mean, they totally know. Because this doesn't just involve this. This is using my illness to run me. It's the book I wrote, but most of all, it's about my kidnapping in 1941, and I didn't find out about that until late '83, after at Flint's, and the British told me. This is a family where they took me and gave me another name, a name of a twin. This is me 2 years after they brought me here. Glossed over a picture, and that's the woman who killed the twins that were born out of wedlock. That's how I grew up. But I wanted a horrible existence. But this is Howard Johnson's. I'm just going to focus on it right now. I've had to make myself stay here. They put me in this dump room, but I've tried to tell it. They come in and they put, with me standing there telling them how sick it made me, they put some kind of caulking or something in the bathroom up in the, what's supposed to be the exhaust fan, although there's not one there. So it's easy to come by, and they did this too, and sprayed with Windex into the air conditioning. There's no back to it, so I'm getting all kinds of stuff through there. But I'm so sick, it's also old and close and everything. Here's what I wanted to say, though. I can't call a cop because they're the ones helping the higher up, which are the feds. And, yes, I know how this sounds. If people, let me finish this first, though. But an FBI, I got a letter from them June the 23rd of 79. And I thought it was because of the book I'd written. And then later I found out it's who I am. But one FBI agent said to me, it was one FBI agent I met later. He said to me, this is how they run you. They make it so ludicrous that people know you're telling the truth. It gives them a chance to help or walk away, okay? So I can't go to anyone with it. And believe me, so many people know at Huntsville, worked for the DA there. Atlanta, wrote the book and lived there, and here in Roanoke. So I'll just say this. I can't go anywhere with it. They want me gone. They treat me like garbage wherever I go. Now then, just a few minutes ago, and I've got to leave tomorrow because I'm so sick, looked out the door. I was so sick I had to open it and try to get some air, and that's bad because fumes and all that from the vehicles. And the police are here. There's like, I think they said there was 4 cop cars that showed up, and when I looked out, there was 3 cops that I saw, and they were here, and it was a brawl. Somebody had bloodied somebody's nose. Now, do you get my point? I'm in here. It's like a gas chamber, the rooms I've been put in, systematically run from one to the other since I came here in in 86. So instead of them putting me in a stark gas chamber, they put me in a room and soaked me with fumes and made me look like I'm nuts. And after I came here, I found out about who I am, and I found out that Anastasia is a cousin of mine, would be a cousin just like she is to Elizabeth, the illegal Elizabeth. And they killed her on I think it was May the 6th, and when I was driving the Hustler car, I still had it, Larry Flint car. That was in '84. They killed her. That really was her, and that's not what you heard told. Uh,